yields are falling, that is probably a pretty good thing for gold, right? If yields are falling, why is that good for gold? Well, it could suggest that rate cuts are still on the table. That's what the bond market is perhaps starting to lean into. We saw the market already voting on that. And I mean by that is the stock market really rallied here recently, thinking that rate cuts are coming. Regardless, that potential rumor of rate cuts are coming is a rocket ship for gold. It's why I'm still long. Now, I haven't added any more trades. And you might say there might have been like some intraday stuff you could have added here. I haven't added any more trades. I've got my 2 trades on right now. Will I add to gold again? Will I add a 3rd trade to gold? Absolutely, if the setup shows up. I have no max number of trades that I can enter on a position when it's in profit, right? So right now I have no risk on this trade. There's no risk to me with this gold trade. If the market rolls over hard, I'll just get trailed out for my trade. But how will I add to this trade? Well, this is where technicals do come in. This is where technicals are valuable. We can draw in this little level here, which has been acting as resistance on the daily chart. We wicked up, put an all-time intraday trading high here. I will say, here's a warning. Last time that happened, it didn't, it led to some big selling in the following weeks, but it is possible that we just run through that wick and just come right back up to the top. I actually wouldn't be surprised. I would actually say, I think that's more likely than an equal move in the opposite direction, right? This is my opinion. I could be dead wrong on this, but I will say this. I think there's a better chance that we retouch those highs than we drop down to this equal distance, right? It's my opinion. And again, I could be totally wrong. And I'm not adding to the trade because currently Edgefinder is still giving us a neutral reading on gold. So I'm not adding to the trade right now. So let me clarify. I said I would add, but not at these levels, not right now. Here's what would get me to add. First of all, point number 1, Edgefinder's got to give me a bullish reading. If we don't get a bullish reading, that means that data here is not concisely, shaping up in the same direction strong enough. I'm not getting confluence enough if that is the case. Okay. So that's number 1. Number 1 for me to add to a long trade on gold is Edgefinder confirmation needs to be there. Okay. So that's point number 1. Point number 2 is I'd like to see a technical break and retest. I'm not adding, as crazy as this might sound, I'm not adding to the trade if it goes down. I'd be adding to the trade if it goes up. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say we break through this level again and we get a solid all-time high close, right? This is an all-time intraday high. I'm talking about an all-time high closing price. So if we get a new all-time high closing price, let's say we get one of these guys, could be next week. If that happens, and then you see some sort of pullback, assuming that we have Edgefinder confirmation, again, if we have Edgefinder confirmation, that's basically looking through some of the fundamental data points that I really highly consider. If we get those 2 things, then I could add a 3rd buy to this trade, right? One of my favorite things to do when I'm trading is to add to winning trades, right? Constructively. I'm not chasing, but I'm saying if you get the repeat setup, I have nothing against, if the setup is there, adding another one. That's why I added over here, right? Edgefinder was still bullish, pulled back, boom, entered. It went sideways for some time, and now we've got the move. But again, the alternative is that if price falls from these levels and I'm wrong and we see gold kind of fizzle out here, in that case, then I'll just take profits. So obviously I wish all of my trades were in this situation, because at this point it is not a matter of if I make money, it's just a matter of how much, right?
Market analysis, free trading courses, Edgefinder data, and special offers. What do these things all have in common? They're all available for you right now inside of our free Discord. You can click the link down in the description below to join the free Discord today and get access to all of this and more. Stay up to date with all the latest trading information and A1 content. And if you want to upgrade to our Gold VIP Discord that features every single trade that Trader Nick and our other professional analysts take, you can find the links for that in the description as well. So don't wait, go check out the free Discord today.
The if is gone because I've got my stop loss trailed, which is nice. I mean, not all my trades are this scenario. I took a loss yesterday on oil. I'll talk about my loss yesterday on oil, and then I'll talk about what I did recently with oil. So that'll be next. The question now is, how much does the market want to give me here? So if we do rally, if we break through, my goal is to stop or to trail that stop further. So we might have a busy week on gold next week. We might just be out of the trade. We'll see what happens. But my bias remains to the upside, but to add to the trade, I need to get confirmation from the edge finder. Was that helpful to you guys? If you are somebody who is watching gold, or you use the edge finder, can you let me know if that breakdown made sense or it was helpful to you when I explained that, just by dropping a yes in the chat or a Y in the chat, either one. Just let me know if that made sense, and then I can move on. Okay, cool. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Okay, so the other one I mentioned was oil. So oil, so let me break this down here, because I am in a good trade now, but my first attempt, I got stopped out. So I tried to buy oil yesterday right here. So I bought oil here, and oil completely dropped, and I lost about $900 on that trade. So yesterday, my first attempt on oil was a flop, but then we saw this candle wick back up, and I went ahead and just entered the trade. So after we wicked off the bottom, I entered into a second attempt on oil, and so that's where I'm at. By the way, these are my current positions. So I have here's my gold trade, and here is my oil trade. Broker I'm using is WeBull. We'll drop the link to WeBull if you'd like to sign up with them. It is a referral link that we're dropping in the chat, but if you'd like to check out WeBull, there is the link. It's what I use as a US trader. And by the way, WeBull is bringing futures trading to their platform, which I am thrilled about, because although I'm not a futures trader and I'm not sure if I will, I'm excited to have the option. And I'm also excited for my friends who use WeBull, who are more, looking to trade futures, that option is coming to you, because again, WeBull is a broker I've used for many years now, or I shouldn't say many, but several years now. So I love the platform. I think it's one of the best brokers out there, because again, the analytics, the dashboards, a lot of traders will go and they'll get access to like a trading journal thing. You don't even have to do that with WeBull. You get so many analytics on your trading and your investing. It is the platform. That turned into more of a plug for WeBull than I meant to be, but I genuinely love the product. So check out WeBull. Okay, so let's keep going with oil here. Why did I enter oil? Well, oil is giving me some nice bullish readings on the edge finder. So let me break this down. I'm just going to select here. I'm going to actually just search USO, boom, boom, boom. Let's go to only US oil for a second, and we'll break this down. So oil is getting a +7 score here. The commitment of traders data is on our side here, seasonally on our side. Trend is to the upside. GDP numbers, a little cool, not great for oil. MPMI and SPMI, these are manufacturing and services PMI. Retail sales numbers have shown some improvement from the previous one. CPI has been hot. That's good for oil. Employment change, jobs data came out. Kind of mixed, because again, you also had a tick up in unemployment rate and then interest rates as well. So, you look at this is how we are scoring, how the edge finder is generating bullish and bearish. You'll notice we are not using things like MACD. We are not using things like RSI. We are not using trend lines to make decisions here. Yes, those things can be valuable, but the forces behind the price of oil are not these things. They're not price action. They're not, in my opinion, right? This is opinionated stuff, but I've been doing this for some time, and I've made this point many times. I've interviewed a lot of people on this channel. I've had the privilege to be able to speak with a lot of people who have managed a lot of money, who are professional traders. When they speak, they don't talk about trend lines, price actions, order blocks. They don't talk about that stuff. Not to say that that stuff is useless, but you know what is always mentioned? What is always mentioned, tried and true, is this stuff, economic data, what the Fed is up to. So that's why we always highlight it in these videos and streams. And that's why the whole product that we've built here has been built. It's to try and make fundamentals more approachable. The NASDAQ, S&P are pretty flat on the day. Dollar index is not moving too much here. It's moved in the last 48 hours. But what I find really interesting is we had this resurgence in the dollar index. So the only data point that I really saw was some flash PMI numbers. So kind of interesting. Is gold a buy here? I did a full breakdown in the last 10 minutes on gold. So just rewind the live stream if you want to hear more about gold, but I don't want to repeat myself for people who have been hanging out with me here for a minute. Let's take a look again at the dollar index for a second. So dollar index on the daily chart. If you're a currency trader out here, the dollar index is really choppy right now. We've been kind of range bound, some support here, some resistance overhead. I wouldn't be surprised if the dollar pushes up into this region, but I'd be surprised if we saw a key breakout, especially after the Fed, Jerome Powell basically mentioned still 3 rate cuts on the table. I see upside as kind of limited for the dollar index. Something could change there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not seeing something, and perhaps the market will see something that changes its mind. But right now, the risk is to the upside, as they say. In my opinion, the risk would be more trying to short. I'm sorry, did I say that wrong? I think the risk is to the downside, actually. So I think if people are getting overly bullish the dollar, right? I think there's more risk if it were to sell off. I think there's more downside, basically, to the dollar than upside. I could be wrong about that, but the economy seems to be slowing. Interest rates are expected to be cut. The debate is how many will happen this year. Some people still think there won't be rate cuts. I don't really know exactly what's going to happen, but right now the momentum is favoring rate cuts are on the table. And that's why I am, like I said, I'm long gold, long oil. I mentioned my third trade. I am also on TLT. I've sold puts, and this position is doing quite well here today. I sold puts. So basically, long story short, without getting into the complexities of options, essentially, I am bullish TLT, and TLT popped off of this level of support. Now, what is TLT? TLT, just think of it as the inverse of the 20-year yield, essentially, because yields here, this TLT is a 20-year plus treasury bond ETF. So long on bonds here, if the yield comes down a lot, then that means the 20-year bond will rise in value on average, and this ETF tracks like a collection of them. So I have a long position on that. Essentially, I don't actually have a long position. I've sold puts, and if you want to go into detail about what that is, then feel free. But I know a lot of traders here are not options traders, so I won't stick too much time on that one.
I did stay for quite long, but I actually went out. I think it's this week, Tuesday or Monday. So we were just waiting for another breakout, which happened, and we are still on a trade, but this time it doesn't really have enough strength because of the FOMC. But I think I'm still very bullish. I think maybe whatever that is happening now, it shows that there is enough bullish momentum. Maybe it's because of Apple scandals and stuff like that, or maybe that case, because I saw Apple going down. But the overall move on my side, it's actually a very nice bullish move.
Yeah, it was a very strong week here for markets in terms of stock market and also gold. The market loved, Kenzo, the Fed chair's speech about basically still staying strong with 3 rate cuts expected this year. A lot of people, myself included, actually thought he might push back on the idea of 3 rate cuts with all of the hotter than expected inflation we've been getting. But he came out and he basically said, yep, still 3 rate cuts on the table as long as the economy hangs in there. That was kind of the little tail end that he left in there. But stock market loved it. Gold loved it. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on gold, because I know you are bullish. You made that clear on NASDAQ, the S&P, which has been an awesome mover for you. Do you have any thoughts on gold? I have a position,
Yes.
so I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yes, I'm still actually bullish. It seems like this year they have no. Actually, I can say Fed, they don't really have any choice but to cut the rates. Yes, maybe inflation here and there, it might be still sticky, but it's no longer higher like last year. And I think they did mention that on their conference. So I believe that maybe they will cut the rates, even if maybe it will be a little bit later. But it's better than nothing, because now we are very sure that they will end up cutting the rates. And to me, it was also a surprise, because I thought if maybe they can actually say they're gonna cut, I thought maybe they're gonna say we'll cut twice or maybe once. But the expectation still the same, 3 times, which sound too much, like too good actually. And I think the market did not really digest that nicely. Maybe by next week we'll start to see the market continuing pushing up again, because sometimes the market will take time to take or to digest whatever that it's happening now. I think we had some buys, but they're not really enough, especially when we know that they're gonna cut 3 times. So to me, especially on gold, the way it reversed here, I think we can still have a very nice buy, especially here. I think it's just a nice retest. We might see the market continuing going up. Besides that, also, we have economies which are not performing very well. We have geopoliticals all over the world. So people from those sides where they have geopolitical stuff, obviously the best thing that they can invest in, it's actually gold. So it means we still have enough room for gold to go up.
Yes, very interesting, and I would generally agree. I think our 4-hour charts look really similar. You've got that kind of downward trend line drawn, at least on your drawing there. That kind of 4-hour chart pullback, and now seems to be finding support. I think that there is more upside for gold. I think that, Kenzo, we've had this prolonged period in gold of consolidation. And I cannot tell you how many people, and you've probably seen the same thing, Kenzo. I've seen so many comments on my channel, on my Instagram, on all things, people saying, gold needs to come down. It's gone up, it's overbought. But if you really truly know gold, and many traders claim to trade and know gold well, but I don't think you do if you haven't really reviewed your history of gold. When gold makes a move, when it really breaks out, similar to the NASDAQ. In fact, in a real gold rally, I think gold is more frenzious, or I don't even know if that's a word, more of a frenzy, crazy buy than the NASDAQ even, right? If you go back and you take a look at some of the true, massive run-ups that happen. So I do think that, yes, gold, if you're used to this range, again, if your scope of trading, if you've only been trading for 6 months, or you've been trading for 3 months or 1 year, and you've only seen gold be a choppy asset, well, be very aware that when gold expands in terms of volatility and has a real true bullish case, the direction is relentless and in one direction. And many traders, I'm sure you know Kenzo well from your audience and comments and people who have probably experienced this, many traders will blow everything trying to short or buy gold when it's in a very strong trend. Have you seen that before on your comment section, or students or people that have worked with you?
Yes. Actually, I can say the only volatility that can compete with gold, I can say currently, it's actually Bitcoin. So when we talk about NASDAQ and USDT, they are volatile if you compare them with currency pairs, you see, but not gold. Gold is crazy, man. Gold is crazy. And if you go back here, we had this type of a move. I think it was 2020. We had this type of a move from this level to this. And if you compare this move here, we're not actually even closer to that. That's crazy, man. I think we're coming from 14K to almost 20. Very quick, you see. So now this move to me, I think it's quite smaller. You can even see now it's quite way too smaller. So I think the problem maybe with traders, we have these terms that we use and we just force them to be true. Like when we say something is overbought, if maybe the market is overbought, it doesn't really mean that is the limit. Yes, it's overbought comparing to what we see now, but that is not the it's not like maybe it's the wall where the market won't break. The market will always go up if the demand is still higher. And what we see now, the demand is still very high. So it means, yes, along the way, unfortunately, the market won't just go straight up. It has to reverse a little bit, but it will still continue going up, you see. So maybe that
Right.
will be now, we don't know. But this bullish move here, if maybe indeed things are not going well, we have geopolitical news, I think if it's that situation, we are still at the lowest level. The market can go anywhere. We don't really have any limit on these numbers. These numbers, they can reach even 100,000. I'm not saying gold is going to reach 100,000, but these numbers are unlimited. As long as the demand is very high, it means we will see it going up.
Did you know we do a live trading show Monday through Friday with guests from all over the world? To get notified when we go live, click the bell button next to the subscribe button or check in at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We have helpful, free content in the description below and on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching today's video, and we'll see you tomorrow.